My name is Nick Harmer. In this video I will show you how to use the Nanodrop nanospectrophotometer in the Living Systems Institute. The Nanodrop is located in room SO2.12 in the Wolfson Laboratories Level 2. Using the Nanodrop is fairly simple. However, taking care over the instrument will ensure that you get reliable results and that the instrument is left in the best condition for the following users. When coming to the Nanodrop, you should find the instrument as shown with the reading arm down. This protects the lens from picking up dust from the environment and from becoming scratched. The instrument will also require the arm to be down initially to test its calibration. Come to the computer screen and click on the Nanodrop 2000 software as shown. This will launch the software. The user can then select an assay to run by clicking on an appropriate button. Here I will use the nucleic acid default. Alternatively, if you have already set up parameters for your sample in a previous experiment, you can search for the appropriate data file and launch the experiment from this data file as shown in the My Data box by the black arrow. This is a very convenient way to work as data on a single sample will be stored together. It is particularly appropriate for samples that have non-standard ratios of absorbance to concentration, such as proteins. Once the assay is selected, the Nanodrop will perform an initial verification. The arm should already be down, so it is usually fine to click OK here. The first task is to set a blank and test it as a stable blank. To set the blank, lift the reading arm and pipette 2 microliters of the buffer that the sample is contained in onto the Nanodrop pedestal. Although it is possible to read on less than 2 microliters, our experience is that readings are more producible with 2 microliter volumes. Here I have used water as the DNA sample is in a very weak buffer. After pipetting the buffer onto the pedestal, lower the reading arm and click the blank button on the software. This can also be activated by using the F3 button. Wait for the software to show that the blank is available again before continuing. It is good practice to check that the blank is stable. To do this, lift the reading arm. Clean the arm with a Kim wipe as shown. It is essential to use Kim wipes on the Nanodrop and never blue roll. The blue roll will scratch the lens and make the Nanodrop unusable. Anyone who's found using blue roll on the Nanodrop will be invited not to use it again. Both the pedestal and the arm need to be cleaned so that there is no mixing between samples. After cleaning the Nanodrop, pipette another 2 microliters of the buffer onto the pedestal. Then lower the arm. This time on the software, uncheck the Add to Report box as shown in the red box here. Then click the Measure button that is just above this. This can also be activated with the F1 button. The results from this should show a reading of no more than 0.04 at the important wavelengths, and the tray should show no systematic errors. In this example, the highest reading at the relevant wavelengths is minus 0.011, which is within the expected error range, and there are no systematic errors, so the blank is of a good quality. Should you observe a high error, or obvious signs of a systematic error, then it's likely that the previous user has not properly cleaned the instrument. In this case, perform a final clean as is shown at the end of this video. This will usually clean the instrument thoroughly, and a new blank taken after that should be stable. After checking that the blank is stable, recheck the Add to Report box. Clean the Nanodrop as before. Now pipette 2 microliters of your sample onto the pedestal. Lower the arm and click Measure again. The Nanodrop will then measure the sample. As long as the sample settings are correct, it will also calculate the concentration of the analyte. For nucleic acid, the diagnostic ratios are also calculated. I would strongly recommend testing each sample twice to ensure that the measurement is accurate. I have on occasion misapplied the sample to the pedestal, and this results in a highly inaccurate reading. Here, the two readings that have been taken are very similar, suggesting that the reading is accurate. It would be wise to take as many readings as are necessary to give sufficient accuracy for your downstream experiments. One feature of the instrument is the opportunity to re-blank, using the button next to the blank button. In the event that you use the wrong buffer to blank with, it is possible to rescue a sample after reading it. Clean the instrument and apply the correct buffer. Then press the re-blank button. The instrument will reset the blank to the new buffer and then recalculate the spectrum of the last sample measured with this new buffer. Finally, before leaving the instrument, perform a final clean. Clean the instrument with a Kim wipe as before. Then pipette 4 microlitres of water onto the pedestal. Here I'm pipetting 2 microlitres twice for convenience. Lower the arm and then lift the arm. Wipe the pedestal and the arm as before and lower the arm. The instrument is now clean and in the correct position to leave. This will ensure that the instrument is ready for the next user. This guide summarises the basic use of the instrument. If you wish to explore any further functions, you're encouraged to discuss this with a more experienced user.